Welcome to the Healing Broken Families podcast. I'm Barbara Lapointe, and each week I host healing conversations around divorce, parental alienation, and high conflict personalities. Today, Dr. G. Rex Kruly is joining us from Thailand, and we will be in the presence of a master. Dr. Grant Kruly has been studying and training in his multidisciplinary craft of health, quantum science, and personal development for many, many years. The areas of awakening, business success, goal achievement, psychology, stress reduction, raising consciousness, and brain research are all integrated into his practice. He has also studied classical Japanese sword, Zen, Aikido, Oneness and Deeksha. Also, energy psychologies, brain reprogramming, military science, biology, and overall the spiritual, mystical experiences for over 51 years. Today, Dr. Grant consults, heals, and nurtures clients from all over the globe online. His work combines his vast background, and it is delivered online using the quantum field. Over the decades, he has become a master at that ability. So, Dr. G, welcome to the Healing Broken Families podcast. I'm very honored to be in presence and in conversation with you today.
Thank you very much, ditto. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
So, I'm very curious to talk about a lot of things with you today, but I wanted to start with the fact that our audience is stressed out. Some of our audience is stressed from divorce, toxic relationships, the stressful society, everything that's going on in the world, and I think just generally people are rushed and people are stressed. And they're feeling that in their bodies, in their, in their psyches, their body, mind, and soul, because it's all connected. And I know that you're going to be able to help explain a few things with respect to that. So let's start there.
Okie doke. Ask me a question and I'll see if I have an answer for you.
Okay. Well, I was curious, how can you control time and space from the inside out?
That's a good question. So you want to know how to control time and space from the inside out?
Well, I know that sometimes we can't control what's going on in the world, and we can't control our outer circumstances. And so, yeah, I didn't tell you this was a really hard podcast, did I?
I love this. That's a great question, but it requires, it's a profound question. It sort of requires a profound answer. So there's a number of levels to that. The only people who actually are able to do that in reality is a person who is permanently enlightened. What does that mean? Permanently enlightened, a permanently enlightened being, like Eckhart Tolle is an example of a permanently enlightened being. Their brain has been altered such that their brain will no longer produce fear. It no longer functions in terms of the future at all, and it no longer functions related to the past. So with an enlightened being, it's like looking at this tree. The tree is. So enlightenment is a state of being. You and I and everybody listening on this podcast almost certainly are in a state of doing. So we do things, and the reason we're doing things is because we have a self, and the self is designed to do things. Now, the issue with that's why I wrote my book called Want More, is all about this subject. The problem a human being faces, especially nowadays, is agendas. What is an agenda? An agenda is a series of things that you have to do, and they're all couched in the future. So when people wake up, especially nowadays, when they wake up, their big mistake is they go to the computer or the phone. And the moment they do that, the mind and the self gets hurtled out of the present moment and into the future. And I got to do this and I got to do that. And then they're multitasking, which is a complete neurologic accident. You should never, ever multitask. And they're lost. They get lost and carried in the agenda. The other issue is because they're not enlightened, or they don't have a real high consciousness where they develop the observer. We identify with the story. So there's a story. Like if I identified completely with me being a podcast guest, my ego and my mind, and I can create all kinds of stories. But the fact of the matter is, if I'm conscious, I'm sitting here in Chiang Mai at the mountain talking to you, and this is being recorded, and I'm here. So stopping time and space is a matter of consciousness. And consciousness is your actual reality. You're not your body or your titles, or you're not anything other than consciousness, energy, existence. So we say in Indian, we say Satchit Ananda, existence, consciousness, and the condition of that is bliss, not stress, not fear, not worry, none of those things. Now, I can speak by firsthand experience because I've been training 53 years, and I have experienced timelessness and enlightened states. But I only experience them as a temporary state. An enlightened person like Eckhart Tolle lives there. So what you have to do, if you want to do this from the inside out, which is very, very good, important work, I try to tell my clients, you can do it by pieces, eh? Give yourself, say, 15 minutes every day. Sit down and be absolutely still. I mean still. There's a lot of reasons for that. And quiet, no phone, no stimulus, nothing. And just what you want to feel is your own life. It's a living thing. If you've ever come close to dying, or if something was going to kill you like a rattlesnake, or if you've had a real close call with death, you come into contact with life. What I mean by life, like Eckhart Tolle will say, look at your hand. Can you feel the life and energy in your hand? This is his method. If you can contact the feeling of life inside your hand, step by step, you can extend it up the arm until you can feel the life in your entire body. That's a way of going inside energetically. Now, if you use ordinary meditation methods, they're 99.9% useless. The reason for that is this. Let's say you want to do Zen meditation or Vipassana meditation. You can sit and focus on your breath for the rest of your life. And you may or may not in 20 or 30 years develop some higher consciousness. The reason for that is this. Every meditation method across the world, you'll hear them say, sit and let your thoughts float in and float out. Why do they say that? Because mind does not belong to us. Nobody nowhere has a mind. Mind is a field. it's millions and millions of years old. And the thoughts actually are just moving. Your brain, human brain, we know by science now, is nothing but an antenna array. The thinking doesn't even occur inside the brain. They use a magnetoencephalogram, I believe it's called now, and they found that all of the thinking is actually happening outside your brain. So mind is like if you think of it like a fog that's millions and millions of years old, and your brain and my brain, everybody's brain has the different tuning. So Einstein, he was tuned to a specific kind of frequency, and he picks up that kind of information. Gershwin picked up a particular kind of information, and that's how he makes the music. It's all downloads. So you cannot stop your mind. Anybody that tells you you're going to stop your mind, they don't have a clue what they're talking about. The trick is to not identify with the mind. That's why they tell you, watch the thought come and then watch it go. Now, if you can do that, you got pretty high consciousness. That's called the observer. If you can do that, it helps you disidentify with thoughts. If you disidentify with the thought, you're free of the story. When you're free of the story, victim consciousness dies.
Okay.
Then you have peace. Make sense?
It does make sense. And I think you explained it so clearly. At one point, Dr. G, I was going to ask you, because you were referencing Eckhart Tolle, I was going to ask you, what is the mind? But I think you explained that very clearly. But then you mentioned that we can tap into frequency. Mm-hmm. And I think that in the collective consciousness, we're hearing a lot about that. And sometimes we hear, well, just raise your frequency, or tap into a different frequency, or tap into an abundance frequency. And so what is the connection between frequency and the quantum field? And I just made that question up. I don't know if it makes any sense.
Makes total sense. The quantum field is nothing but frequencies. Quadrillions and quadrillions and quadrillions of them. And they're all layered in different strata. And we call those strata morphic fields. Okay? So an example of a morphic field for the audience is we use a computer model. So you know the Google Cloud? That big cloud, all that cloud is, it's an electromagnetic field, and it holds, an infinite number of little photons of light together, and the information of Google is encoded in the little photons of light. That's called a morphic field. So morphic fields are made by any number of collectives, and they have their own frequencies. And then this tree, like this brand, this has a particular frequency. We're very complex, so we have an infinite number of frequencies, all kinds of information, every sound, every from a galaxy to a Planckian spherical unit, everything is nothing but frequencies, okay? Now, when people say, raise your frequency, easy to say, sounds real cool, not so easy to do. That's what I do with my work. What I do is I go directly into a person's subconscious mind, which is the fundamental database that controls their whole life. The two laws to remember when you want to deal with your life and with the universe, there's so many laws, higher laws. The higher laws govern miracles. And then you have the regular laws. The two laws I want you to always remember that control everything for you is perception and resonance. So perception gives you your frequency. It gives you it'll give you the frequency, the vibration, your perception. And I'll give you an example of that in just a second. And then the frequency or vibration that you are both radiating or broadcasting and that you're functioning at by the law of resonance gives you everything you have. The man or woman, the money, lack of money, health, lack of health, pain, everything, your house, your clothes, every single thing is by resonance. So here, and then who governs the perception? Your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is running everything. The conscious brain right here is very weak. It only processes 40 bits of information a second. And it's only operating a maximum of 5% of the day. The subconscious mind processes 40 million bits of information per second. It's functioning 24/7. And it gives you all of your perceptions. It flavors everything. Why does it do that? So I'll give you is it okay if I answer it like this? Are you okay with this?
I'm loving it. Yes.
Okay, so let's do use a computer as an analogy of your life and how it works. We're designed by the universe to survive, and in order to survive, we're complex. When a little butterfly come after the caterpillar makes his little cocoon or his chrysalis, and he's born as a butterfly, everything's all set and done. But that's not the way it is with us. We're complex. So the way the universe designed us is from conception until all through the womb, your birth, the first 6 hours after you're born, and then from those first 6 hours up to the age of 7, all you are is a subconscious recording machine. Okay? And you're recording at 40 million bits of information per second, 24/7, and everything is taken in literally. The problem is none of that information belongs to us at all. It's our mom and our dad and the environment where we live. Why do we do that? The brain is not thinking until the age of 7. Why is we like that? Why are we like that? If a kid is born on the Amazon Delta in a hut, he has a particular software that he needs to be able to survive there. Very different from a kid that's born in Manhattan, New York. The environments are completely different. So we are absorbing all of this information, and then the brain kicks in at age 7. But after it kicks in at 7, for the rest of your life, any single thing or thought or desire you have is filtered and referenced through the subconscious database. So let's use a computer. You want to buy a computer, and you go down to the store and you get a brand spanking new computer, and it's in a box. So the box is mommy's womb. That's her tummy. And you take the computer out of the box, the baby's born. So there's your new computer, and you say, okay, I want to play some video games and watch a couple of movies, and your husband or your friend says, wait a minute. You gotta put all the software into this thing and get all the apps first. You can't just play with it. So the baby is sitting there, and you got to start downloading all the software. The software of a computer is the subconscious mind. Okay. The Google Cloud is the collective. That's the global collective.
Okay.
So the computer gets linked up there, but you got to put in all the software. Now, when you want to search something, at age 7, the frontal cortex says, okay, I want to learn about this. And it types in, and then the computer references through the cloud and all the software the answer. So that's us. Now, an example of how perception gives a different frequency, which gives a different life. I'll give you two guys. One guy is a very rich Manhattan businessman from New York, and the other guy is a farmer. They're at the farmer's field, and the field is covered in wet cow manure because he just laced it with cow manure, and last night it rained. So these two guys are standing out in the cow manure, and to the Manhattan person in his database, manure is filthy and it's full of E. coli and disease. And he sees the flies buzzing around and stuff, and he's getting sick. And the farmer, he perceives he's born a long line of farmers, and in his subconscious mind, his database says that this is absolutely marvelous. Look at all this cow manure. I'm going to have a fantastic crop. The Manhattan man, because of his negative perception, he gets as sick as a dog because the fear and the worry lowers his immune system, and he gets sick. The farmer stays as healthy as a horse, and he's fine because his frequency, it's a proven fact. You can reference Dr. Bruce Lipton on this. If consciousness is high enough, environmental toxins are no longer a factor. They can't touch it.
Wow.
If consciousness, that's why I'm never sick. I am just never sick. Nothing touches me. I can get physical pain from because I trained for about 43 years, and I broke my back in half, and I had breast cancer in 2014, all kinds of stuff. But as far as disease or COVID, any of that nonsense, no, it doesn't touch me.
I'd like to ask you about the miracle frequency. But before we get there, I wanted to use a more specific example. So you provided all of this sort of context, the cloud and perception, law of resonance. But let's just use a specific example of someone who has a financial block or a financial crisis. How can individuals identify and overcome, well, I guess their limiting beliefs programmed in that person's subconscious? I think that, people are struggling with that after COVID, after divorce, even just in general. If someone's not making money, is that their fault? Is that a program? Is that bad luck? Is that...
Well, there's no such thing as luck, sweetie. Luck never existed, and it never will. It's a frequency, and it's a program, and there's 10 full programs that control all human life, but fundamentally, we can only handle a few of them. So in my work, for instance, abundance and money is my daily issue. Now, for the audience, I want you to understand, I know what poverty is. I used to work like a dog when I was a young buck in the factories, and I broke my back. I couldn't work. Healed that, became a martial artist. I lived off grid for 11 years. So I was I loved my work, but I was very poor. I used to get one spaghetti dinner a week. Then I became a licensed doctor. I never had any success with the business part of it. I was licensed in Georgia and Tennessee, and I was as poor as a church mouse. And I was angry. I lived in a state of absolute rage because I was one of the top 1% of martial artists in Aikido in the entire United States. I'm a doctor. I did all these things, and I couldn't make any money at all. And I couldn't understand none of it. I attended I know every single word of John Assaraf, Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard. There isn't anybody that I haven't studied, and I still couldn't make a dime until I found out about cognitive dissonance. And I didn't find out about cognitive dissonance till I was a doctor, and I apprenticed for 8 years under a great master in Atlanta named Dr. Larry Habersky, and he taught me about cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance goes like this. The subconscious mind, its power is 1 million. Conscious brain is a power of 1. The ratio is a 1 to 1 million. Anything the subconscious mind tells you you can do, you'll be able to do. If it says you can't do it, you can do your affirmation, you can do whatever you want, and you'll never, ever, ever do it. That's why a simple example is what do you call New Year's resolutions. They want to go, the conscious brain says, I got this reason, I'm going to do this. And 1 week, 1 month, 3 months later, they're not. Because somewhere in their programming, in the subconscious, there's somebody or something that said you can't do that. So if you have 16 PhDs and you got this thing all mapped out what you want to do, and in the subconscious your dad said, son, you'll never do that. You'll never ever be able to do it. You don't deserve it, and you're dumb as a rock. You will never. The 16 PhDs mean nothing. And you can see millions of people like that everywhere. All kinds of great education. Life is not data. So anyway, what I do is when someone comes to me and they can't get ahead, they have like a financial ceiling, or they just absolutely are stopped. Pardon me. What I do is you go into the subconscious, and I find the first 3 downloads, irregardless of where it is in their life, where they downloaded the original information that's blocking them, that's giving them that reality or giving them that negative belief. And most of the time, people are never aware of those things. That's why it's called subconscious. It's invisible. So I take the fundamental pillars that are holding up that belief or that vibration, that life pattern, and I remove them completely. Once they're removed completely, and I do mean completely, then I come up to the present day, like you're our age now, my client's age now. And then I say, okay, now what is it you want to do? And then I check self-image, self-esteem. We look for karmic patterns. I change it all. As soon as I do that, every time I'm erasing something negative, their entire perception is changing, which lifts up their vibration and their frequency, and then the prosperity or the success just comes because the block is gone. The divine and the universe always and only supports abundance and love and like that. The divine and the universe has nothing to do with negative stuff. But the trick is this: universe will only say one thing to you. It says, okay. So if your perception says, I don't have anything, the universe says, okay. And that's what you have, nothing. If you say, I'm not lovable, universe says, okay. If whatever your frequency or your conscious attention, the universe is going to say, okay. So the thing I do after I clear my clients is I teach them wealth consciousness. Now, I want you to understand everything I'm telling you, I live it. Okay. Now, I'm in Thailand here. I live a millionaire's life now. And I never had advertise, never had any support like this. It's just me and the divine and consciousness. I got out of America and immediately everything just moved like that, because once I was divorced, I could easily manifest wealth consciousness. And all that means is this, and it's supported by brain research, right? The frontal cortex is where you think. It must be lit up. If as long as it's lit up, the motivation centers of your brain are lit up. And whatever you want here, your ideas need to be endorsed by the subconscious. Now, what you do on your end, I'll take care of the subconscious part, but what you do on your end is this. All you notice all day, you train yourself to see what you have, never what you don't have. You check for your wording. If you open up the fridge and nothing's in there, you don't say, I don't have anything. What you say is, because if you say, I don't have anything, what are you doing? You're solidifying lack, and the universe will say, okay. So you open up the fridge, nothing's in there, and you say, oh, I'm gonna go down and get some things. Now, what did you just do? One, you just acknowledge that you have the power to go get something, which implies that you have enough money to get something. You didn't say what you're going to get. Maybe you only have enough money to buy a single hamburger. I lived like that for years. But you say, I'm going to go down and get something. And you're empowering yourself. So the universe says, okay. And everything you do have, you love it and you feel grateful. And always verbally acknowledge. Every time you accomplish anything, even the tiniest task, you always say, I got that done, and I did this, and I did. You never say, I didn't get that done, and I didn't get this done. I got to do that. No, because the universe says, okay. Now, as long as you're doing that, the frontal cortex will stay lit up, which means the motivation centers are lit up, which means your frequency is up. And by resonance, the universe will keep giving you more. If you get scared, you get a bill, you don't know how you're going to pay it, the amygdala lights up. It's a little organ in your brain. And that when that little guy gets lit up, it releases cortisol. If you're real scared, really stressed, the blood leaves the front of the head and moves toward the back, and you can't think well. You'll get foggy or you'll get confused. You don't know what to do. The cortisol starts a neuroendocrine cascade. Your immune system drops down. That's why they want you to wear masks. That's why they tell you all the rubbish they tell you in the media. They want you to be scared. Your immune system comes down, you get sick easy. Your energy's down. The motivation centers, they're not operating. And you stay right where you are. The universe will hold you right there, and you won't make money. You won't advance. Does it make sense? Am I answering the question?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head. You really got what I was asking from the moment I asked the question. You did. So let's shift over to the miracle frequency.
A miracle frequency? Miracle frequency, folks, I've never heard that term before. That's simply you make your bond, like me, you make a conscious bond with your divine. It's really very, very easy, folks. The trick is your conditioning, your conditioning and your culture, depending on who you are and where you come from. But the best way to bond with the divine is the divine is like like your immune system. Your immune system is made of undifferentiated antibodies. Okay, so undifferentiated antibody means if something bad comes into your body, irregardless of what it is, because the antibody is undifferentiated, it can become anybody. It can morph into anything it has to morph into. It's the same with the divine, folks. I want you to think of the divine as a infinitely large ball of light. and we call it the Param Jyoti in Indian. It's the great compassionate light. And everybody lives there. Jesus lives there, Buddha lives there, Krishna lives there. All of the greats are there. Mother Mary, all of the angels, everybody's in there. And it's this great, big, gigantic ball of light. And you want to talk to it. So the ball of light is too big to talk to. You want to talk to God. Everything is God. God and all creation is one and the same thing. It's too big. So what you do is you give the divine a form. You can ask it to be a butterfly. You can ask it to be Jesus. You can ask it to be a little old lady. I made my divine, my great grandma and my grandpa, because it's a man and lady. And you give them a form, and the best form to pick is someone who's close to you, like your mom or dad or your grandma or grandpa, somebody like that. And then you tell the divine that, I want you to be this for me. Then the divine will do it for you. That's why Jesus comes down and he's wearing robes. He's not wearing a tuxedo. Because if he was wearing a tuxedo back then, walking around the desert, nobody's going to relate to him. So he comes there so he can relate to them. They can relate to him. Same thing with Buddha. Buddha doesn't wear a gigantic turban and look like Alibaba, because he's in he's in the culture where he is. All the divine wants to do is talk to you and to help you. So you make friends. You give it a form and you say, this is how I want you to come to me. And then all you have to do to activate the form with the divine is talk to it. You talk to it. Like I wake up, I do 2-3 hours every morning from long before the sun's up, and I bond with my divine. That's how I have everything. When you have a problem, you talk to the divine and you say, I need this and I need that, and I need this and I need that, and I want to know this and I want to know that. And the divine will do it for you. This is the reality of millions of people today, folks. Millions of people all over the world. And depending on your bond, you make there are people that have bonds so strong, it'll sound like a Harry Potter movie if I was to tell you about it. Now, we're at a particular time in history now. And and the Earth is at a particular point on the galactic plane in the Milky Way galaxy. Divine is very close now. Unfortunately, the dark side is also very close. You may have noticed some of the crazy things that are going on.
Yes.
So there's a war right now. And the divine is very much right there for you. You just make a relationship with the divine. And then when you want to manifest something, the key to manifesting is simply, you must state it as a fact that you have it now. If any of your wording or thinking is that it's going to come to you, it'll always be in the state the universe says, okay. It'll always be coming, but it never arrives. So you state what you want with the divine. You share your feelings, everything with the divine. But when you want something real serious, state it. You say, I'm so grateful that you arranged this because I love this. It's yours. And once you do that, with the science, they're trying to show the science of it. So you have the heart and the heart field, which is magnetic. You have the brain, which is electrical. You make an electromagnet. That's all true. Okay. But the person who's doing everything is the Param Jyoti. Nothing is going to happen anytime, place, anywhere without the Param Jyoti. Period. It handles everything. The divine. Whoever your divine is the divine, and it'll come to you in by whomever or whatever. But what I will tell you is if you make a personal friendship, it's hard for Western cultures to think of it that way. It's real easy in India or in, well, most especially India. It's like a best friend. And that's how I live. I live with my divine. And I have physical miracles happen here. They'll move furniture around or eat the stuff I put on the altar and all kinds of stuff. It's all the real deal. That's my secret. When I heal people, everything the divine is healing them through me. All I am is a channel. I'm out of the picture when I work. When I come here to talk to my beautiful host here, I have the divine I ask the divine to speak through me for you.
Wow.
Anytime. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
I did want to get a little bit more clarity on that, because earlier you were saying, when you were describing the process of working with a client, you were saying that had a financial block, that you would take care of the subconscious blocks, or that.
Right, right.
And so I was curious about that. Like, obviously you're working in a co-creative manner, but can you see those blocks in a person's field?
No. I can talk. I can talk to their field and to the quantum field with surgical accuracy.
Okay.
And I'm using a kinesiologic method to do that. That's one of the most important parts of my work. That's one of the hardest parts with most healers. They may have some tremendous healing ability or even insights or psychic, but they can't surgically control it. It's really important for healers or that they can remove all forms of entanglement and be completely absent so that they're getting exact, accurate information. So when I talk to the client and they tell me their issue, then their eyes will be closed and I have them ask the questions, which opens up their files. And then I can read the file. As soon as I locate exactly where that block is, like I'll find, I just cleared a beautiful woman's, she's an entrepreneur, and I cleared her financial ceiling. And I believe the first original download was at something like age 3 or age 4. And they absorbed something there that was related to the financial blocks they have now as an older lady. Sometimes I find things in the womb and sometimes at birth. So there's 10 programs. And now this is mystic information. And you won't find this with the other scientists. First program that controls our lives is related to past lives. Second program is genetic inheritance, and not genetics like they think of science. That's this big. I mean genetic inheritance on your all of your ancestors on your father's line back to the beginning of time, and all of your ancestors on your mother's line back to the beginning of time. Now those two, program 1 and program 2, they are attracted into you at the moment of conception when dad's sperm hits mom's egg. Then program 3 is from conception through the womb, birth in the first 6 hours. Very, very critical. Then program 4, from the first 6 hours to the beginning of age 7. Program 5, age 7 until our age now. Program 6 is the global collective program. Program 7 is the solar system, which is in a real big situation right now as we're speaking. Program 8 is the galactic, for us, the Milky Way galaxy. Program 9 is the real big boy, which we call universal intelligence. That's the total universe. And then above all of the universe is number 10, the other realms. And the other realms is where the Paramjoti lives, the heavens, the hell, all of that is, we call the other realms. Science cannot see the other realms. They never will. But all of those things are controlling. We're inside all of that.
Wow. This is so fascinating. I'm very much in awe of you. I know that you nurture, heal, and help clients all over the world, Dr. G.
I do. It's my honor to do that. The real big trick that I'm the most excited about was when I was 3, I used to have the visions of saving the world, sort of like Noah when he made the ark, And then around 2008, the divine showed me the image of doing morphic field physics. And at this point now, as I'm sitting here, I can take up to 21,000 people at one time as a collective, and I can change their entire collective consciousness at the same time relative to a specific question. So, like say fear of failure, and I have say 21,000, or I have 100, or I don't care how many it is. I can put them in a cloud, and I can operate in the cloud such that it's a feed forward, feed backward system. It goes to all of their individual consciousness, and that fear of failure will be removed. I'm really excited about that. I just so far I have not had I've had small opportunities with small collectives, like say corporation. They have like a big board of directors or something. They give me the metrics they want changed or where they're stuck, and I clear the entire board of directors at one time, and the problem is solved. I find that work really fascinating. I can do the same thing for plants, or like a body of water, anything that's alive.
Really?
Yeah.
That's up. I don't have any words. That's beautiful.
Thank you. It's pretty cool. I love my life. I love my work, and it's I learn more every day, and the divine is always upgrading me on a consistent basis. Weekly, I'm learning more and more and more and more.
And just to clarify, when you're doing this work more and getting this more and more, is this work in the quantum field? Is this why you call yourself a quantum technology healer? Are these downloads from the quantum field and the divine?
Well, the download, if you say a download, it would be my understanding of how all of this works, because you can't find any of this anywhere. Like I became a licensed chiropractor. I never heard of any of this stuff. When the way this all started, I was in Georgia in my prayer chamber one day, and when I was still married to Tammy, and I got a phone call from a couple in New York. I don't know how they found me, because I didn't have no advertising or nothing. And he was a great big fella. He got MS for the last 2 years, and his wife was dying of metastasized cancer, stage 4, was all through her body. And they called me up and asked me to help them, and I said, "How am I supposed to help you folks? I'm in Georgia. You're in New York. There's nothing I can do for you." And I heard the voice, the divine said, no, you can heal them from here. And I heard, so I started, and I was able to stop MS cold really fast. But the oncologist convinced that poor lady that my work was a figment of her imagination, and she died within 1 month. As soon as I stopped, she died within 1 month. But that was how I became a distance healer. So that's a download, and that's my bond with the divine talking directly to me. And the quantum field, everything. I'm going to shift this so you get better lighting. The quantum field is all of reality. That's all it is. And basically, when you say the quantum field, it's the energetics, because all it is energies. When I heal uh, chronic diseases, like I had a lady for 30 years, she was completely debilitated with Lyme's disease, and I just disintegrated. How do I disintegrate it? I use destructive interference waves. Destructive interference waves are frequencies that when they hit each other, they cancel to zero. You can look it up on Google, destructive interference waves. So Lyme's disease has one frequency. I locate that frequency, find the destructive interference frequency for that, send it, it's over with. And then the person's body and their consciousness, their nervous system tells me what constructive interference wave to send. So when I send a constructive, when constructive interference patterns hit each other, they build, they go into greater complexity, greater power. So in my work, I'm removing the weak, the negative, and I'm building. And then at the end of my session, I give Deeksha. What is Deeksha? Deeksha means the divine, their divine, client's divine, will pour through me directly into their brain. Deeksha was given to humanity in 1987. It's existed for thousands of years, but this way it's for the public. So I'm a Deeksha blesser, and when the energy goes from the divine into your brain, it starts to remove all your fear. It starts to disassemble the areas in the brain on the parietal side here, responsible for fear, worry, anxiety. They start to disassemble. Frontal cortex really lights up. Deeksha has been studied by functional brain scans at the University of Pennsylvania. So I always seal my sessions with the Deeksha, and that means the divine is going to endorse the healing and the changes my client wants. So if you want wealth, or let's say you want a nice man that you would really love, a lot of my clients are ladies and they're lonely. They don't have anybody. So how do you attract the right man? Now there's a trick to that. The primary trick is you got to design the guy, but don't design what he looks like. Design the qualities he has and how you feel with him. So you tell the divine and the universe, when I'm with my guy, I feel like this, he makes me feel like that. Those are the emotions. And he treats me like this, and you make all those different qualities. That's a frequency package, and the divine can bring you that guy. That's how that works.
Wow. I was once, okay, I want to just close the loop on a couple of things. First of all, you were talking about some sub-programming that might have been input in our subconscious brain, say at 3 years old. And oftentimes we don't remember, like, back then. We don't remember when we're 2, 3 years old. I have some training in inherited family trauma, for example, and we ask, what is your first memory? Like, what is the first thing that you remember? And so, like, for example, with me, I mean, I don't remember much before the age of like 5, 5 or 6 years old. And some people can remember, oh, I remember when I was 2 and I was in the crib and my mom came and picked me up out of the crib. And I'm not like that. I don't remember a lot, but I'm not sure why I'm asking that, but I'm not sure why I said that.
Well,
But
it's a critical thing. So what I do is, like, say I was working with you, hun, and you have some kind of an issue, and then I'll say, your eyes will be closed, and you'll say a question like, at exactly what, first of all, which program did I acquire the first download related to this problem or feeling? And I'll find out if it's program 1, 2, 3, 4, and then usually it'll be programs 3 or 4. So then let's say it's it says program 4. So I'll say, you'll ask the question, at exactly what age did I receive the first download related to this issue? And then I checked with kinesiology and it comes up age 1, you received a download. And I'll say, on a scale of 0 to 10, it's arbitrary, how strong is that download? And let's say it comes out 6 out of 10, means they're very strong. So then we go through a series of disassembling that download until finally we go to 0. And your last question will be, what will completely remove that download from my field entirely? And then it's gone. And once it's gone, it's gone. When I say it's gone, it's over. So that's gone. Then you'll ask the question, at exactly what age did I receive the second download related to that problem? And it might be 2 or 3 years later. How strong is it? We disassemble it, it's gone. I always go up 3. So the first 3 pillars supporting that negative belief or trauma, they're gone. Then we come up to your age now, and the issue that we're originally talking about, and we wipe out everything. Every entanglement to it, every person, place, or thing is all cleared and removed at the same time. Now, and of course, throughout the process, I'm building up your consciousness the whole time. So your physiology responds. Bruce Lipton has shown, when it comes to energy healers like myself, on the cell membrane, you have all of the receptor sites, all of the little antennas. If you take a drug or a nutritional supplement, you receive 1% of the signal, the energetic signal. 99% is lost in the heat of metabolizing the substance. When I send in a frequency to you, even if you're on Pluto, you receive 100% of the signal instantaneously. So in my kind of work, everything changes in real time at that time.
wow. Well, I just wanted to share with the audience. I'm just curious if anyone out there in the audience feels what I'm feeling, because when you do that and with such confidence, I really feel it. Like I feel your confidence that you can, for lack of a better word, do what you say you would do. Like I actually kind of feel it in my body for the last 15 minutes. So it's very powerful. And this is my 3rd season of Healing Broken Families. And I've been coaching since 2013. And I don't think I've ever interviewed someone like you. And it's just a very loving experience. I feel very much in gratitude for you, admire you, and acknowledge you, Dr. G.
Oh, that's so sweet of you to say that. When you say broken families, man, I have one beautiful family in the Middle East, and it was a family where there was so much trauma, and I got to work with. They had fully grown daughters and young ladies, and the mother was. I got to work with the mother, and I worked with the father, and the whole family was damaged really badly, and it was revolving around years and years of sexual abuse. right within the family, and everybody knew about it, but because it was Middle East, like the ladies, the mother was unheard. No one would listen or do anything. The daughter was looking to her mother to help her. The mother couldn't, and everything just went unsaid. And eventually, of course, as they all grew up, the mother and some of the relatives, they were still living together, and the husband, but all estranged and all layered in pain. And the daughters had all moved away, other parts of the world, and I was in touch with them. And the mother was a very brave, great lady, just a doll. The whole family were. And I worked on healing all of the sexual abuse of the daughter. And then I worked on the mom, and I worked on all of them, right, separately. And then I said to the mom at one point, your daughter, because it was the mother's relative that had been doing this to her daughter. And then I got the mom to experience her daughter's pain and upset. Because if they want to heal it, we got to bring it up to conscious awareness. And the mother was so sweet, she did it, and then I was getting emotional. And then I told the daughter her mother had suffered the very same thing as a kid, all through her teenage years. Nobody listened, and it was all repressed in mom. And I got the two of them together, and the whole thing healed. And it was one of the most beautiful cases I ever dealt with. It was a beautiful thing to see. And now they're all like that.
That's a miracle. That's beautiful.
Really, really cool.
Oh, yes. What a lovely place to just hold on to that miracle energy as we end our conversation today with Dr. G. For sure, people are going to want to reach out to you, check out your website. So what's the very best way to connect with you, Dr. G?
Yeah, I take care of all of you myself, eh? So just go to my website, depthhealing.org, not .com, .org. And then you'll be able to see the contacts, and just get a hold of me, and I'll take care of you. Whatever it is, I'll take care of you.
Well, much blessings and much light. Thank you. If you enjoy the content that we produce on Healing Broken Families podcast, then I invite you to support our show by liking, commenting, sharing, reaching out, connecting. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
These clouds create the purest rain on earth. It falls on a remote tropical island in search of nature's best filter. Ancient volcanic rock. It's not just water. It's Fiji water.